can come back
to
the whole assembly and make any announcements
or proposals.
We also have the nurses union here.
We also have the nurses union here.
Solidarity!
And we'd like to give them a few minutes. To make any remarks that they have. Can I get a temperature check on letting them go first? All right. Does anyone oppose? For those of you who haven't been here, we have a few hand signals. To help the meeting run smoothly. If you approve of something, this is the symbol for that. If you don't feel great about it, it's more like this. If you disagree, it's like this. If you disagree so strongly that you would leave the meeting if the decision goes forward, that's a block. It's very serious. If someone is off topic, you can call point of process and bring the meeting back on track. If you have a point of information, that's this. That's a factual comment. And if you have a clarifying question about what's happening, that's this. All right, without further ado, welcome to Worcester's Union.
The nurses are coming in?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Good evening to all of you. My name is Marie Ritacco.
Good evening to all of you. My name is Marie Ritacco.
I'm not loud enough, huh?
Would you like the mic on or mic off?
How about mic off? I think I can do it. Is that
Okay.
okay? All right.
And my name is Lynn Stabbit.
Hello.
Hi, we're from Worcester, and I work at St. Vincent Hospital in Worcester. Lynn works at Memorial Hospital, and we're from the Massachusetts Nurses Association, National Nurses United. We are the largest professional association and union for registered nurses in the Commonwealth and National Nurses United with more than 175,000 members. We are the largest association and union of RNs in the United States. On behalf of the nurses of Massachusetts, I want to say thank you to the courageous activists of Occupy Worcester for standing up to corporate greed for economic and social justice for all. The Occupy Wall Street movement has inspired millions across the country, and it has provided a spark that we all hope will light a fire of progressive reform that will restore the promise of the American dream. We have been honored to march with Occupy Boston protesters over the last 2 weeks, and we are just as proud once again to lend our voice and our support to your struggle, this time in our own community. We do so because your fight is our fight. Like all of you, the nurses of America want Wall Street to be held accountable for the crimes that they have committed against the working people of America. America's nurses are alarmed. We see broad declines in health and living standards among our patients, their families, and our communities. These are declines that are caused by the lack of jobs, people suffering from poor nutrition, people putting off needed medical treatment or medications because of lack of a health insurance or high deductibles, people who are losing their homes or their retirement savings, and it has to stop. We're here because Washington has largely abandoned our communities. Too many politicians would rather cut programs that help people than take the steps we need to reclaim the American dream. We're here because Wall Street got bailed out and Main Street was left out. We're here because soup kitchens and homeless shelters should not be the fastest growing business in America. because medical bills should not be the leading cause of bankruptcy. That's why we are fighting for a Main Street contract for the American people. That would mean jobs at living wages, health care for all, good schools for our children, protection from homelessness and hunger, and a secure retirement for everyone. And that is why we are calling for a tax on Wall Street financial transactions to fund the recovery on Main Street. Again, everybody, we thank you for your courage and we applaud your commitment to speak truth to power. Today we will be bringing tonight at 8 o'clock, we're going to be going down a contingent of nurses from central Massachusetts. We're going to be bringing blankets and tarps and flashlights to the other people that are down at on Lake Avenue at the park. And this is only the beginning of our commitment to this noble cause. We, like you, will not go away. We will not be silent. And working together, we will heal America and restore the American dream. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we're ready to break into working groups?
How do people feel about breaking into working groups? Temperature check? Point of information.
At yesterday's GA, we decided we would explain what the process of a General Assembly is like.
Okay.
So I'm asking that you do that as a facilitator.
Okay. Do you want to come up and do it, or?
I'm going to leave it to you.
Okay. So the point of information was, do I need the mic or can people hear me?
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
The point of information
The point of information
was that at last night's General Assembly,
was that at last night's General Assembly,
it was decided that we should explain
that we should explain
how a General Assembly works.
how a General Assembly works.
How it works is
How it works is
anyone who wants can come join the conversation. We make decisions
we make decisions
based on consensus,
based on consensus,
not a strict vote.
not a strict vote.
We'd like to have everyone agree.
We'd like to have everyone agree.
If that's not possible,
If that's not possible,
we agreed on 75%. Is that
we agreed on 75%.
We show agreement by this.
Show agreement by this.
If there's a block,
There's a
There's a
block.
uh, then the decision gets tabled.
Then the decision gets tabled.
The group is open,
The group is open,
as are all the working groups.
as are all the working groups.
Anything that happens
Anything that happens,
is because someone decides to make it happen.
It's because someone decides to make it happen.
Did I miss anything? Stack. We also take something called stack.
We also take something called staff.
So if you want to come up
If you want to come up
and address the group,
and address the group,
you can get put on a list
you can get put on a list
called stack.
called staff.
Will anyone take stack for us? Okay. If you want to come up and talk,
If you want to come up and talk,
come see this gentleman,
come see this gentleman,
and he'll take your name.
and he'll take your name.
Anyone can come up.
Anyone can come up.
So first we're going to start by breaking into working groups.
First, we're going to start. Clerk, you have a clarifying question over here.
Clarifying question. Yeah.
Clarifying question. What exactly are the working groups supposed to be that we're breaking into?
Well, I have a list. It's
The question is, what are the working groups supposed to be? And Hannah has a list.
if you want to form another group,
If you want to form another group,
that's okay.
That's okay.
But these are the ones we have started so far,
But these are the ones we have started so far.
and they are media,
Media,
outreach,
outreach,
logistics,
logistics,
legal,
legal,
food,
food,
facilitation,
facilitation,
direct action,
arts and culture,
translation,
translation,
donations,
donations,
and medical.
and medical.
On the note of translation,
On the note of translation,
we have a very nice interpreter right here.
we have a very nice interpreter right here.
If you or anyone you know would like translation, between Spanish and English, please see Barack. Yes.
I have a clarifying question. Can we have a quick overview of the groups and what they do?
Sure. The question was,
Can
we have a quick overview
of
the groups and what they do?
the groups and what they do?
Media.
Media.
Is anyone from media here? Okay.
But I'm not that savvy about what
I can.
Good.
The media group is about both creating media and making sure that the conventional media have some connection into what's going on.
Outreach has to do with how we're reaching out to the rest of Worcester. So not just through social media like Facebook or Twitter, but different neighborhoods, different communities, different cultures, and bring people into our meetings and make them feel comfortable.
Clarifying question.
Logistics has to do with how things run. So there have been meetings about setting up agendas for general assemblies, things like that. Do you have a question? Okay. Legal is looking into different legal issues that we could run into with different actions, how to deal with them appropriately, being prepared for that sort of thing. Facilitation is about how we facilitate meetings, small groups, that sort of thing. Great. I kind of lost my list, but arts and culture. Is anyone from arts and culture here? Okay. Translation has to do with opening our meetings up to people who don't necessarily speak English and making it accessible to everyone in Worcester. Medical probably has more to do with demonstrations or what's happening over on Lakewood Ave. Does that answer your question?
Actually, it kind of made another question pop in my head.
Yeah.
With you said arts and culture.
Yep.
And both with outreach, would that be able to fall directly into direct action too, seeing how we would be out in those communities, both handing out pamphlets, holding up signs, going to talk to especially Main South and the Lincoln Street area?
Yeah.
Would that handle out both under direct action and such? And with the arts and culture thing, would that be able to fall into, because a lot of the local communities, a lot of the local art communities we haven't tapped into, but I know that they scatter the city everywhere, and it's just one of those resources that I know direct action can go straight at, go there and hand out.
I think this should be in the proposal. It should go on stack.
Okay. So the question was if arts and culture goes with direct action, and the point of process was whether it should go as a proposal. I think right now it would be best if we broke down into small groups. There's a lot of overlap between the groups, and there needs to be a lot of talking between the groups. And they don't have to be totally discrete. They shouldn't be. We're all working together. But it's just a way for individuals to work on something that they're particularly passionate about, and then we can come back together and share all the work that we've done and share between the groups. Yeah.
I know I probably should be on stack, but I have a proposal that will help make this, I think, happen in a better way. So I propose that right now we probably need to be focusing on visibility and outreach. And while we have a lot of working groups that if you go to the website and you go on the forum, you can start to get involved there. But I propose that we split up into maybe 3 or 4 groups. And those groups for right now would be outreach, media, and direct action. And if anyone else has anything they'd like to add to those three, but I think those are the three we really need to be focusing on right now. And given our numbers, that might give a good size for each of those groups.
So yeah.
She's on stack. Could she speak?
Is this a?
No, I just want to say that I think you should add legal to your main three there, because I don't know if you're aware, but you have an ACLU lawyer here in town that's willing to lend their support. They came down last night, Beverly Chaborgian. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her, but she's having a hard time speaking to everybody at once. She needs like a liaison or a spokesperson.
Okay.
So I think you might want to add that.
Is she here today?
Groups before you lose her interest.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Excuse me, is Beverly Is Beverly here right now?
She couldn't be here.
Okay. Okay.
Is there a number that we could reach her at?
Yeah.
Well, so
hold on.
The proposal is. Do you seriously have a clarifying question, Bill? Is there somebody here from the National Lawyers Guild? Raise your hand. I don't see anybody raising their hand. Okay. So the proposal is, since there are many working groups. Are you from the National Lawyers Guild?
No, but the legal team can talk about this.
Okay.
Okay.
The proposal is to have, since there are many working groups that have been proposed, and since there are many things that could be divided upon among a couple of working groups, that we break down into not every possible working group tonight, but a small number of the working groups that people are the most interested in. Which is not to say that the other working groups will not meet and that you cannot be as part. You can certainly be a part of as many working groups as possible. The proposed working groups that would meet right now would be outreach, legal, media and direct action. Outreach, media, legal, and direct action. Can we get a temperature check on this? Okay, so why don't we do I don't know if I'm allowed to make suggestions as the co-facilitator. My suggestion would be that we'll pick a spot for outreach, media, legal, and direct action, and everybody else who doesn't want to be part of one of those four tonight can organize into whatever smaller working groups they need to in a fifth spot.
Great. So let's have media meet by that small tree. Outreach meet by the flagpoles. Direct action meet behind me in the green. And legal meet over by that small tree. And if you don't want to be in any of those groups, meet out here. Yes.
For how long? 20 minutes?
20 minutes. Can we get a temperature check on 20 minutes? I'm just getting kind of like a whatever.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Can we get a temperature check?
Can we get a temperature check?
On 20 minutes.
On 20 minutes. All right, we'll check back with you in 20 minutes. You'll almost certainly want more time. We'll give you more time then.
All right, I'm going to try to do this without a mic check because I yell for a living.
Do we need a mic check? Can people hear?
Can everyone hear me? Yes. All right, so we're good. All right, our proposals are, in affiliation with the direct action, we get a group to sit on a city council meeting at 7 tonight. Can I get a temperature check?
Does anybody want to do that?
We got a mixed thing here.
I feel like that's more of a autonomous action, maybe.
Okay, so the proposal has been made that people could do this autonomously. The city council is meeting at 7 until who knows when in this building on the 3rd floor. So people could do that autonomously since we don't have a group consensus.
Can we get a temperature check on that? If you want to do it, do it. If not, don't.
Clarifying question.
Qualifying question. Yeah. What's the purpose in having consensus process if anybody can just, if they don't get consensus, can just do whatever they want?
I think the purpose of, so my answer would be that if you have something that you're like, it would be great if we had 50 people go to the city council meeting, that's something where you want to do consensus. If you say it would be great if we had 5 people go, then you don't need consensus, right?
And we didn't get consensus.
We didn't get consensus. So the suggestion has been made that some people will be going. So if you don't want to go alone, some people presumably will be going.
But point of information.
Yeah.
We did just consensus that we're totally okay with people going if they want to.
Yep. Okay. Yes, good point. The group does not object if you visit the city council. Okay. Sorry. Back
All
to
right.
proposals.
Our second proposal. We need to start a legal observer training.
Temperature check, legal observer training.
All right.
Okay.
Is legal going to try and set that up and
Yeah.
come back with time proposals?
Yes, we are.
So you'll have a proposal.
We'll figure that out later.
Do you have a proposal about permit?
Clarifying question.
Yeah, that was actually my next one.
For that training, are you going to have actual lawyers come and help do that?
We're still trying to organize it, so
Okay.
we'll get back to the group later with that.
Point of information.
There's 2 shows on Channel 13 Worcester on civil disobedience. They're
Okay.
already taped.
All right. Ron mentions that there are some shows on Channel 13 about civil disobedience that you could watch.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Our next proposal: have Lake Park permit signed by Randy and by the National Lawyers Guild.
Mic check.
Mic check.
It was reached through consensus.
Last
night.
night.
That we have the forms signed.
That we have the forms
Or
signed.
at least looked over by a lawyer.
Or at least looked over by a lawyer.
Before we agreed to sign it.
Before we agreed to sign it.
Randy came down. And volunteered to look over it. And sign it on behalf of the movement. Can I get a temperature check?
Can I?
Is everybody here okay with that happening? Yeah?
Point of information.
No individual.
No
individual.
It is my understanding.
It is my understanding.
Can sign anything.
Can sign anything.
For the whole group.
For the whole group.
I have a.
I'm not uncomfortable with him signing.
I'm not uncomfortable with him signing.
But it's for him.
But it's for him.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Point of information.
Point of information.
I brought this
to
Randy's attention.
He
has signed forms before.
He has signed forms
to get permission. For different groups to organize. And I don't know what the right word would be. Have rallies. He is okay. With signing for himself. On behalf of us. Point of information.
I agree with what the lady said. The point of information is that this is a leaderless group, and if we have somebody making statements for the group, signing for the group in our name, then it's no longer a leaderless group.
So are you willing to block on behalf of that?
Yes.
Of him signing it?
Definitely.
You honestly feel that strong?
Of course.
You would leave the group if you signed it?
Yes.
So you can still check consensus on it.
Yeah. It's got to be 75.
You can check consensus on it, and if there's consensus, then
Point of process.
Point of process.
Mic check.
Mic check. Consensus was made. A couple GAs prior to this one. That if somebody blocks a proposal. We cannot take consensus. Unless that proposal has a friendly amendment. That is accepted by the person who's blocking.
I have a friendly amendment.
Okay, Randy.
Would it be possible if I try to sign with an X and no name and see if that works first?
Mic check. The proposal is that we sign anonymously. Can we get approval for this? Consensus. I would call that consensus. Problem solved.
And if they don't accept it, what do I do?
Take it back
It
to the
sounds.
group.
Yeah, it sounds like now there's no consensus to do anything other than for you to put an X on it and hand it in and see what happens.
Yeah, if that doesn't
Yes.
Do we want to see what the permit is? Like, hey, Randy.
Clarifying question.
Is it possible to get more than one person to sign it? Would it be possible to bring it down?
Do you think we could have 50 people sign this form, Randy?
I'll ask that as the second. If X doesn't work or John Doe doesn't work, I'll ask if we can have multiple signs.
How does let me ask this to see if there's consensus on this. Would people have blocking concerns if we were able to have 50 people or 20 people or whatever sign the form so that it would be a permit but a leaderless statement. Would there be any blocks on that? You would block that. Why don't you like that?
Well, I think that every group needs a leader.
Yeah.
And every document needs a leader.
All right. Could we, I don't think people here agree that every group needs a leader.
Well, I think for legal representation, we're gonna need a leader.
I think every group has a lawyer is different than every group has a leader.
No, in order to have a lawyer, though.
Yeah.
Lawyers like us have a leader or a leading group.
Yeah.
Suppose he gets the form and brings it to the General Assembly.
Yeah.
And reads it at the General Assembly, and then see if there's agreement.
I think so Ron, I think the question is, are people okay with this form? I think that the concern is that if it's just signed by one person, there's a risk that it's Randy Feldman, leader of Occupy Worcester, which is like 100% what people don't want. Whereas if you could have 50 people signing it, it would be 50 people, none of whom are like taking the point, being the point man or point woman on that one. But you are against multiple people signing a form?
Well, not the multiple people signing the form. I'm
Yeah.
saying like only like 5 or 6 that are appointed by the group.
Why?
Because if there's too many people signing the form,
Yeah.
then it shows that we may be unorganized and they may be.
We are unorganized.
We are unorganized.
Have you been to these general assemblies? So no, I don't understand your
I've been
objection.
watching it, and I've been watching it on the news a lot.
Yeah.
And in Wall Street,
Yeah.
they have a specific group that leads it. For example,
This is the city of Worcester, Massachusetts.
Yeah. I'm just going by the other one.
Clarifying question.
Scott Guzman, clarifying question.
This is could we attach a document of our own
to
this permit which outlines the fact that Randy is not at all a leader of this group. And also we have no leaders and he's just our lawyer.
Maybe as a third choice.
I have a clarifying question.
Second is John Doe. Third is that, or third is I bring it back and everybody signs, I think. And fourth is that.
I actually have a clarifying question for Randy. Would you be signing something as the lawyer for someone or just as a person?
I have whatever you want me to do, I can do. I can put Esquire and do it as a lawyer.
All right.
Say I'm not the spokesperson, I'm just the lawyer.
The lawyer,
One
okay.
of the lawyers, actually, because we're going to have other lawyers.
We have a clarifying question.
Clarifying question. I was wondering if you would tell the whole group. What your credentials are. Because when you approached me. You told me you worked at the radio station.
I would be happy to. I'm a lawyer in Worcester for 22 years. I've only done one kind of law. I'm an immigration lawyer, defending immigrants. I'm also a political commentator, and for 2 years I've been on television and radio doing media as well.
Thank you.
Clarifying question.
Do we really want someone in the media to sign his name on our behalf who is political?
Point of information, someone in the media is co-facilitating this meeting.
And film me at the same time.
That my question still stands.
Okay, do we want, wait, so the question is, are you saying that that you would block because Randy's on the radio?
Not just because he's on the radio, but he's a political consultant.
He's not a political consultant.
He just said he was.
No, he's a political commentator. He talks about politics.
Excuse me, I don't want to get into a power struggle. He's a political commentator, and we are here not to align ourselves with anybody of any political persuasion. We are against the political system that exists.
Okay. Point of information.
Mic check.
Mic check.
I spoke personally. With the Parks Department today. This is a simple form. We need somebody to sign it. So that we can stay there. It is not a permanent encampment. We're just working with what we have. He's just trying to help us out. There are bigger issues we need to deal with now. Can I get consensus on that as just my opinion?
Okay, so we have, to bring it back to what I think is the proposal that we have consensus on, is that Randy can put an X on this form and give it to the Parks Department. The second proposal that I'm not sure we have consensus on, well, I know we have at least one concern.
I'll draw my block because I didn't know he was a political commentator.
All right, so we have, there you go. We have a withdrawn block on the second thing, which I believe then we have consensus on, which is that Randy will ask the Parks Department, can we just have everybody at a General Assembly who wants to sign this permit so that it will be very clear that there's no leader.
Can we get a temperature check on that proposal?
Point of information.
We've already reached consensus about signing with an X. So I propose that we table this until we find out whether the X or not works.
Okay, I guess I'm just, it seems to me like we have a lot of interest at least in that second thing. So Randy, why don't you sign an X? If they don't like it, ask them about having a bunch of people sign it.
Proposal?
Scott Guzman.
So as to not stall the process. Of staying in the park. Can we at least set up a contingency plan? If the X doesn't work. Please. My tent's there.
You don't have you're just suggesting that you should have a contingency plan.
Yeah, and so I think the contingency plan
Is an ultimatum.
Is the list of names. Is
right.
That's the contingency plan.
Right.
Yeah.
Certainly a bunch of people can sign it. Certainly a bunch of people could sign a piece of paper. Other people in the group might be very frustrated by them doing that, which is why we're trying to get consensus around everybody being more or less cool with
it
that.
essentially would have to be tabled because we would have to bring it back to the group in order to sign it.
Yeah.
So
It has
okay.
to come back tomorrow.
So it's the same
I propose
thing.
we talk about it tomorrow.
Agreed.
Okay.
So we have consensus that Randy is going to sign with an X. If it doesn't work, he's going to bring it back tomorrow, and we'll deal with it tomorrow. Do we have consensus?
Fantastic. Okay.
All right.
Other proposals.
All right, our last proposal. We want to start a bail fund in case anyone does get arrested. That way they can be bailed out as soon as possible. Can I get a temperature check?
Bail fund. People okay?
Clarifying question.
Clarifying question.
Who's going to be responsible?
Who's going to be responsible?
And accountable for those monies?
We'll have someone in the legal group do it, and we'll
Just
bring them
one
before.
person?
No, it's gonna be a couple people, but we'll bring them before the General Assembly.
So to clarify, you guys are going to come back with a very specific proposal and say this is the bail fund proposal.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Point of information.
Point of information, the Boston occupiers managed to garner $30,000 from contributions, and they decided to open up an account at a credit union.
Okay. Great. Thank you very much.
Legal.
Thank you, legal, for making it happen. All right, who's our next on our group?
Next we have Anthony from media, and
Right, media.
also I still didn't get somebody from outreach.
Let's do Anthony from media,
Steve. All right, thank
or
you.
whoever from. Okay.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Okay.
Do we need a people's mic here?
Talk a little louder, project your voice.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Is everything okay? All right. Only really two things to talk about. First off, the media group is going to be sending a few people to a few different places to try to get a generator. We have at least one potentially secured right now, and we're going to... Huh?
We do.
Okay, good. We do have a generator secured right now, and we are going to be sending, I think it was Adrian, to Clark, to their GA. It was Matt to Clark, to their GA, to ask them if there's anyone in the engineering department who could build us one. So that's awesome. Generators are cool. And the other thing is we've set up a small subgroup for flyers, and there's a small team going to be making flyers for the march on Friday that starts at the Peace Park, and also general flyers for Occupy Worcester.
And if anybody wants to help out with that, we're going to be talking about it on the forum. I think that's it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Who's next?
Next we have Brian from Direct Action.
All right, Brian from Direct Action.
Ow! Woo! All right, I'm pretty loud. Can everybody hear me?
Yes,
Awesome. Direct Action, number one thing is the rally this week at Peace Park on Friday.
Where?
Peace Park on Pleasant Street.
Get there.
This is on Winslow and Pleasant, down by Ed Hyder's.
All right, say no more.
All right. Now we're looking to actually start getting people there because we want to have a decent-sized rally. We had a good one today with the march. We want to see if we can get more people there, so we want to try and set up around like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That way we can get more people and more community support, more signs, and have a bigger showing. The march then will go, the rally there will go from 3 to 4:30, and then at 4:30 we want to march from Pleasant Street. I have no idea where I am in the city of Worcester.
Right over there.
That way. From Pleasant Street, from the park, down here. It's about a mile, a little bit more, so it should take about a half an hour if we go at a nice sauntering pace, holding up our signs, walking straight down the street. Having the GA here on Friday at 5:30.
Clarifying question.
Clarifying question.
Is that the little park across the street from the high-rise?
Yes.
Yes.
In which day did you say again?
Friday.
Thank you.
So to recap, the proposal is Friday at 3:30.
Start the rally at 3. The march
3.
is at 4:30. The General Assembly should be at 5:30. That gives us an hour to march the mile from that way down to here. Temperature check. Awesome.
Pretty good.
Consensus.
All right.
Second, this is happening November 5th. We brought it up at a couple GAs. It's about the bank pullout. Now, the reason we're bringing this up is, where did Dick go? Dick is going to be helping us out, getting lists of credit unions around here, along with anyone that can help him out, compiling small local banks and small local credit unions to have the full bank pullout happen. We do need, from media or whoever, signs, flyers, and I'm actually wanting to put together a little pamphlet that we can hand out and say in the week prior to November 5th, actually be out in front of the major banks around here, Bank North, Bank of America, to be able to hand out these little flyers and these little pamphlets about why they should pull out their money from major banks and reinvest into local community and credit unions. Everybody cool with that? Anybody have clarifying questions about what that means? Awesome.
Point of information.
Point of information.
At the end of this GA, going to be by the first bench over there, anybody who wants to get actively involved in the direct action to pull money out of the banks, to publicize this, come meet with me over there to exchange email addresses
okay.
and figure out how to communicate online to get this done.
Everybody hear that? Awesome. And the final thing, this was brought up in direct action. Before every GA, we felt that it would be a really good concept in order to increase rally and support to actually hold a little march and a little rally from a different point in the city to attract more local attention and to attract more people down here. Got a temperature check on that? Awesome. So before every basic GA rally that we have, we should pick out a different location in a different part of the city. We've already had it from Clark. We just came from Lincoln Square. We can do it from Kelly Square. We're coming down from Pleasant, so we've already hit all 4 sides. Well, we can. So, how's everybody feeling that? Cool? Badass.
Friday,
4-3, and it's a stink.
Right, okay. So we're done with that one.
Point of information.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Also, we had a conversation.
Also, we had a conversation
about having a training.
Who's next?
Civil disobedience. I'm sorry I didn't mention that.
Okay.
I put it at the top of my
Has
head.
media already shown?
That's tonight at camp.
There's one tonight at camp. I also have
Okay.
a number from Scott, who, when we can set up a good time, we'll have another meeting about nonviolent civil disobedience, and we'll be holding that at our camp.
Clarifying question.
Clarifying question.
What time tonight was the training?
What time tonight is the training? What time did Finder say it was?
When we get back.
When we get back. Probably after dinner, because I'm hungry.
Point of information.
I would say probably around 9. Obviously, everyone has to agree on that, but I think that's a good time
Just by
9 o'clock for anyone who wants to show up down on Lake Ave.
Make it happen.
Cool.
Awesome.
Clarifying question.
Since we've decided that we would have a march every day, should we decide what time and where tomorrow?
Yeah, what time? We can bring that up in a little bit.
Did we decide to have a march every day?
GA tomorrow?
Yeah.
Well, we haven't decided.
I don't even know in my head as I'm thinking about this.
I'd like to bring up a question.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like having a march every day is a lot of work to do, especially for the amount of people that we have involved in Occupy Worcester right now. So I would suggest that maybe we revise that proposal and maybe do like 2 marches a week as opposed to an everyday march.
Second.
All right.
All
Maybe
right.
start Friday.
Start Friday and then work from there.
Yeah, start Friday, work from there. I mean, it's not like,
Alright.
if you want to do it before, it's not like you can't just do your own
So
civil
the next
action
GA would be Friday.
and get out there and just hold up your sign right before the rally and come
Alright.
here on your own accord. But for having giant unified things, that's an awesome idea and get that rolling starting Friday.
Great.
So the proposal is to have 2 marches a week starting on Friday. Do we have consensus on that? Temperature check? All right, looks like consensus.
Do we know when tomorrow's GA is?
No.
Let's have. So we need to decide on a time for General Assembly tomorrow. We also need to hear from Outreach. Diamond Dave Macheski, please take the podium.
First thing that we come up that work goes with what's been talked about from direct action. Julian Barak are going to post flyers ahead of Friday's march to advertise to promote that. They'll be meeting Wednesday at 5 p.m. Where at the Peace Park? In the Peace Park.
So tomorrow at 5 p.m. in where it's going to be starting from. If anyone else wants to come and help us hand out flyers and put stuff up about it, please come meet there.
Clarifying question. Is there going to be rides available for anyone coming from like the actual camp, or are we going to have to try and figure out our own way?
Figure it out.
All right, fair enough.
Then another thing we went through we brainstormed a list of groups that we could reach out to, but we were encouraging anybody, if you know of groups or organizations that we could go and speak to or approach about Occupy Worcester, please come and talk to us.
Okay.
How should they contact you?
So specifically, if you're affiliated with any organization, if you have a close personal relationship or know somebody who does, that might be interested in collaborating, you should come forward with that. If you're a member of a union, if you're a member of a church, or something like that, we'd really love to hear from you.
And should they just talk to you guys?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Did you guys hear that?
Yes.
People's mic?
So we're going to have a list.
We're going to have a list
of all of the organizations.
That
we've thought of. Under the outreach heading.
Under the outreach heading.
On the website.
On the website.
So please check that list. And if you know anybody personally. Who's in a leadership position. In any of those organizations. Be in touch with us and contact them yourself if you can.
Be in touch with us and contact them yourself if you can. Or if you're part of another organization or group or neighborhood, that's great too. You can be in contact with Outreach and, talk to people you know.
All right, then I think this is the last point. There might be more if anybody can fill in. That there'll be a general flyer done up just about promoting, talking about Occupy Wall Street, and we'll be circulating that, and there'll be upcoming notices about times and places where people
While you're
can go and
facilitating,
do
these
that.
people at home will know that I'm not paying attention as much as I should to these people.
I think that's it.
Thanks, Dave.
Great, thank you. So one important thing that we need to decide, can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Is GA meeting times. I have been told that we consented yesterday that GA times would alternate so that people with different schedules can make it. So keeping that in mind, do we consent for daily? Did we consent for daily meetings or does anyone know?
Yes.
Okay.
Daily GA.
So daily General Assemblies. Does anyone have a proposal for what times to alternate between?
4 and 6.
So the consensus yesterday was we would alternate between 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock for starting time, and do it here for now. Okay.
I propose that at least some of the meetings be held at our camp.
Okay. Joshua is suggesting that some of the meetings should be held at Lake Park. What we got like a mix. We got some like negatives and some positives.
If you do that, you have to communicate it very effectively.
All right. He points out if we do that, we have to communicate very effectively. So we don't have consensus on doing it anywhere but here, I guess, for now. A point of information.
Effective communication is not a car. It's not a bus.
Okay.
Effective communication will not allow a lot of people to go there.
All right.
Yeah.
So
Can we have a conversation about it, like via stack or something? I don't think we should.
do people want to?
So, I think, if I can do this, I think the concern is that the camp is pretty far from a lot of Worcester and it's hard to get there, and that we'll have a lot lower turnout and a lot less people will be able to get there. So, unless someone has a concrete way to address that, I feel like it's a really important concern. Does anyone have any ideas of how to address that problem? A meeting at the camp?
I just heard someone say start a bus fund.
Sure, we could start a bus. Yeah. Okay. Other suggestions?
I propose that we have a daily General Assembly here.
That we have a daily General Assembly here.
In the evening.
In the evening.
And if at the camp. They'd like to have a General Assembly there.
They'd like to have a General Assembly there.
Perhaps in the morning or midday.
Perhaps in the morning or midday.
They should do so at their own, by their own desires.
They should do so by their own desires.
So your proposal is that the General Assembly should be here, and that people at Lake Park can have meetings as they choose?
Yes, with the understanding, something that we may have to consider with this model.
Something that we may have to consider with this model.
Is coming up with some minimum number of people. That need to be at a GA. In order for a proposal to be accepted under consensus for the rest of the group. Some sort of like quorum idea or
Point of information.
Point of information.
At the camp.
At the camp.
We have decided that any decisions we make at our meetings. Only have to do with running the camp. So far.
Okay. Point of information.
Well,
Is this a point of information or is this another proposal?
no, it's not another proposal. Suggestion.
Suggestion.
Table this topic. It may be big enough that we need to have more time to think about it.
Okay, suggestion that we table this topic. By the way, it's a little after 7, so if people want to go enjoy the city council meeting, you might want to head over there now. I'm sure they'll be going on for a while. I think so. I think that the problem is that we need to decide at least where and where we're going to have the General Assembly tomorrow, and we need to decide that tonight. We can't table that.
Right. I'm sorry, I thought that was decided.
So the two proposals are here or at the camp for tomorrow. Can I get a clarifying question?
Bonus of actually having the GA at our camp is we do have a kitchen, we have food, and we can constantly be cooking and serving, so that if we do have our meetings there, people will be fed, and there is you will actually be able to come down and see what we have set up. We have like logistics tents set up, so if people want to come down, make flyers, we have all of that. It's just one of the bonuses of actually having it at the camp.
You and then you.
I'm not sure how to title this, but my concern personally is that having GA at the camp makes it so that it's inaccessible and inclusive. And I'd like to see the GA inclusive and accessible to most of Worcester, or as much of Worcester as possible.
All right.
What was point of information?
Point of information is, as far as the GA at the camp, it's supposed to be pouring tomorrow, so we're going to be out here in the rain. The camp has a meeting hall, open air meeting hall with a roof on it to have the meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
I think this is a point of information. Someone told me that the library would let us meet in there also, if we want to be in this area. Is that true? Can anyone confirm that?
I remember that is true, but I think you actually need to try and reserve the room. I know it's, I think it's free.
They also close 5:30 some days. They might not be open.
Okay, so the two proposals on the table are still meeting here or meeting at the camp.
Can I make an amendment to that?
Yep.
It sounds like the camp is inaccessible for a GA.
The camp is inaccessible for a GA.
So what Cook said today was that he was going to be cooking a meal after GA every day. And to invite everyone to come to camp. So maybe tomorrow we have GA down here or in the library. Potentially early. At 4. And then move to camp.
I have a clarifying question. Does anybody know about this library thing for sure? Nicole Apostolo, what time does the library close on Wednesday?
On a Wednesday?
Yeah. What?
9 o'clock p.m.
Nicole Apostolo, someone who goes to library board meetings, would the library actually just let us go in there and have a meeting without a reservation?
Well, no.
No.
I mean,
maybe not.
Maybe not.
Oh, okay, that was what I was wondering. Okay.
I've talked to the library. The library says they're waiting for our information put on their desk.
Point of information.
I think they're open now. What if I just go and ask and come back? It's not open.
Closed on Mondays, I thought.
No, they're open today.
Tuesday. But they close at like 5:30 some days. Okay, someone's running over to the library to check. So we got points of information.
As far as accessibility of the camp, you can get here, you can get there. We're on a bus line